Oh my gosh. Once again, I put myself into quite the predicament. Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jamie, and today we have my September wrap-up and October TBR. Grab your drink of choice today. I'm drinking a vitamin water, the energy one, because just looking at this TBR is absolutely exhausting, so I'm gonna need all the energy I can get for this. Okay, first things first, let's wrap up September. Pretty much all of my books that I read in September I have talked about in one of my other videos, so I'm gonna make this pretty quick. If you want my full thoughts, they are already out there in other videos. So let's grab our little board here. This is my TBR board that I typically do 3 months out. So I did this for fall. This is my fall book TBR. So let's go through what I read in September. First book on the list is How to Pronounce Knife by Savankum Tamagazna. This was my book club pick, and this is a series of short stories that focuses on immigrants or the families of immigrants from Laos. And this is just a really grounded, intimate, it's very, very short, just a little collection of these people's lives. It often features children, so like the children of immigrants and how they are adjusting to life in the Western world. Presumably the book is set in Canada because that is where the author grew up. But it's just a very intimate collection of stories. And I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Next up, I have The Talented Mr. Ripley by Patricia Highsmith. This is a literary fiction thriller, sort of, a high-octane drama, if you want to call it that. This was a lot of fun. It follows our protagonist, Tom Ripley, as he goes to Italy in search of an acquaintance with originally the task of bringing him back to America, but once he gets to Italy, he kind of realizes this life is pretty sweet, and he will do just about anything to get a piece of it. And he ends up making some pretty dramatic choices, and the rest of the book is then a kind of cat and mouse situation where he's running away from the people who are trying to catch him, and you're just constantly thinking, like, how is he going to get out of this? I don't see how he's going to get out of this. And it made for a really fun ride. And the character of Thomas Ripley is truly unlike anything else that I've ever seen. He is definitely weird, but in the kind of weird that I like to read about. I think he's a lot of fun, even though he is definitely not a person that you would want to associate with. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Next up, we have How High We Go in the Dark by Sequoia Nagamatsu. This is a book that I did a full dedicated review for on this channel, so if you want to hear all of my thoughts, they're over there. But essentially what this is a sci-fi literary fiction hybrid novel that is essentially short stories, but they're all in the same universe. And when you read them, they kind of build this like larger story. So similar, people have compared it to Emily St. John Mandel, like a David Mitchell. And yeah, I would agree with those comparisons. The difference here is that Nagamatsu is also working to incorporate discussions about specifically Japanese American culture and Asian American culture in this story. And he's also kind of musing on the collective experience from the COVID-19 pandemic. So if any one of those things sound interesting, I would give this a try. It is very experimental work, but if you're looking for something really different, I think that would be a great place to start. And then we have Bunny by Mona Awad. This was featured in my Dark Academia vlog, and it is a dark academia, dark comedy, satire, strange horror, again a hybrid, kind of genre bending, but it is basically a horror-ish take on Mean Girls? Sure, I guess we'll call it that. But this is a dark academia following our protagonist, who is at a prestigious MFA program where she meets the bunnies, as they call themselves. And this is a group of girls in her cohort that are up to something strange, to say the least. And then one day our protagonist is invited to one of their parties, and from there things get crazy. It's horror. It's got some gore to it. It's definitely weird. It's out there. It is very strange, but a lot of fun if you are into the concept. I also gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Then we have The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle by Stuart Tartan. This is a twist on a classic Gothic manor mystery. It involves a little bit of magic, sort of magic. I guess that's what you can call it. But basically, there is a dinner party at this English manor where Evelyn Hardcastle will die, and our protagonist has 8 days to figure out who is going to kill her. And the big twist here is that every single day, our main protagonist wakes up in a different body of a different guest at the party. So he has to use his wits and the influences that each person he takes on, like what their influences and their connections are, to solve Evelyn Hardcastle's murder. This was really fun, almost kind of cozy and atmospheric, and it's definitely not too spooky. It's just a nice kind of like dipping into fall read, and it does move very fast. You're constantly intrigued. Every single chapter ends with a new piece of information that you are just dying to read on. So I did really enjoy this, and I gave it a 3.75 out of 5 stars. And then I actually managed to check off an October book in September because I was at the library's mercy. And so that was Babel by R.F. Kuang. This is the book that is mainly featured in my Dark Academia vlog. It's a Dark Academia book following our protagonist, who is a boy from China who is forcefully taken from his country and told that he will study to become a translator at the Translators Institute at Oxford. And it is about his journey at the school and what he learns there and the implications that it has, not just for him, but on the entirety of the world. So, brand new release, super popular. I was having a rough time with it at first, but after the 100-page mark, I had a great time with it, and I ended up giving it a 4 out of 5 stars. Okay, well, that is everything that was on the board for September, but I did end up reading a couple others, just a few others. And one of those being A Flicker in the Dark by Stacey Willingham. This is a thriller, pretty basic. I didn't find anything really special about it, and I didn't really love it all that much. 2 out of 5 stars. Yeah. And then I also read Macbeth by Shakespeare, again, for my Dark Academia vlog. I've never read that before, so that was my first time, and absolutely loved it. That was my one and only 5-star of September, and, you know, I shouldn't be surprised. Macbeth is such a famous play, and it's beloved by so many people's favorite Shakespeare, and so far it's my favorite of all the Shakespeare that I've read. Okay, now that we got through all the books I finished, let's talk about the ones that I am in the middle of. The first one is it is the last day of September, so I have until tonight, and I am determined to finish this so that it can be a part of my September wrap-up. But I had told myself that I was going to finish reading A Series of Unfortunate Events this year after a reread that I did last year, and I stopped at book 9. I never finished it. I literally am so bad at finishing series, even though A Series of Events is short, like they're for children, and so I should have no problem getting through these, but for whatever reason I just stopped, and I hate having too many books that I own I haven't read, so I'm gonna get through them, and it just so works out that if I read one book a month for the rest of the year, I will finish by the end of the year. So the September read is book 10, that is The Slippery Slope, and I'm very, very near done with this. I'm going to finish this tonight, and then it will count towards my one book a month for the rest of the series. And that, of course, means that the October book is book 11, The Grim Grotto. Another book that I was racing to finish, but I did not quite get it in time for it to officially be in the September list. But I'm going to finish it really soon because I'm really liking it. That is Never Let Me Go by Kazuo Ishiguro. Sorry again. So, Never Let Me Go, this is a book that I am buddy reading with one of my best friends, and I just got to part 2 last night, and I'm really loving this so far. This is amazing. This is about some children at a boarding school in England, and let's just say that there's something off about this school. It's very strange. I don't know, I might say eerie, but it's not meant to be scary, but it's definitely just off-putting. There is something off, and there's like a lot of tension when you're reading about it because you just want to figure out like what is going on here. So the first 100 pages or so has been like full of tension and intrigue, and I just have not wanted to put it down. So I've had a really great time with this, and I hope to finish it maybe this weekend, if not early next week. So that'll be very high at the top of my October list. I am also in the middle of and listening to the audiobook for Middle Game by Shonda Maguire. This is about 2 twins who have mystical alchemical powers. And this is about their journey to find each other after being separated, and also kind of figure out why they are the way that they are. It's kind of low fantasy, but it's alchemy, so it's not magic, but it is in that vein. This has been a fun read. I hope that I get to finish this pretty soon. Yeah. Take another sip of my drink because, we're really just getting started. I really have got myself into quite the predicament. October seems so ambitious, and I'm a little bit scared. But hey, it's October. You're supposed to be scared in October. You're supposed to do the things that frighten you. You're supposed to face your fears. So this is going to be one of those months for sure. Okay, so I'll start off with the books that are 100%. These are going to be read in October. And then I will go to some floating options. Okay, first book and my immediate priority is The Cabin at the End of the World by Paul Tremblay. I am actually going to a cabin in the woods very soon for a little getaway, and I wanted to read not only a spooky book, but a cabin setting. And I was recommended this book by a lot of people, so this is the one I've chose. I've never read a Paul Tremblay, and I'm really excited because this author is very well loved. So I'm excited to see what all the hype is about. And also, interesting coincidence, I guess, but the film trailer for the adaptation of this book just came out, like, last week. And what's crazy is that the movie comes out on my birthday, February 3rd. And the movie is actually, the title got changed. Instead of Cabin at the End of the World, it's called Knock at the Cabin, I think. I don't mind reading scary books, but I do have a little bit of some issues with scary movies. I'm a chicken, I'm not the best at them, so I don't know if I'll actually end up seeing that movie. Certainly I won't see it in theaters, but maybe I'll see it later. But yeah, it was just a funny coincidence that it did end up coming out on my birthday. It was like all the signs are like, you need to read this book. So this is what I'm going to tackle. I am hoping to start this tomorrow. And I did want to bring another book to the cabin just in case that one was way too scary and I accidentally scare myself so bad I can't have a good time. So the other book that I am bringing is Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Toshikazu Kawaguchi. This is a series of 4 or 5 longer short stories, but they take place at this cafe in Tokyo. It's a magical cafe where when you go there, you can go back in time. But the catch is that you can only go back in time for as long as your drink is warm. So they have to have these conversations and do whatever it is that they're trying to do before their coffee gets cold. Next up is a brand new release that I think Booktube is already probably talking about. I'm super excited to finally have it, and that is House of Hunger by Alexis Henderson. Can we just say, like, look at how gorgeous that cover is? I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed with it. And also what is really cool is that this is a library copy and it was on order. I reserved it while it was on order, and so I am actually the first person to read this copy. Like, how wild is that? Like, how often is it that you're the first person to read a library copy of a book? It's nice. I just think it's cool. So this will take priority right away. Next up is a book that is one of the only books that I bought brand new, full price this year, and I bought it because I was that confident I was going to love it. That is Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. Again, this cover, like, just absolutely stunning, and it really called to me. I loved it. I loved it from moment one. This book, another super popular new release. I literally ran to the bookstore to get this. Like I said, I'm confident that I'm going to like this. I will have a dedicated review for this on my channel. I am hoping that I love this. Not only did I spend good money on this, but I have been telling everybody that I'm going to love it when I read it, so I'd love to not be a liar. This is a book that I'm going to take with me on my vacation, and I don't know if anybody else has this problem, but I have such a hard time picking books to take with me on vacation because I don't want something that I have to put too much brain power into understanding, because I want to be relaxed and on vacation, but I also want something that's not going to put me in a reading slump, something that I will kind of zip through and just really enjoy and will just make me happy. And at the same time, I do want to be reading and I want something that I am not going to want to put down, but also when you're at the beach, you want to be looking at the water, and I feel really guilty if I'm looking down in my book instead of looking at the ocean. It's a struggle. It's really a struggle for me to pick which book I'm going to take on vacation, but I've decided that I am taking Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. I think it's just going to bring me so much joy, and that's what I want out of my vacation. This is about two friends who develop a video game, and it takes them to incredible places in the world, in their friendship, and I've just been told this is very moving, very emotionally resonant. It spans several years, and it's a book about a really close friendship. And I feel like you don't get that many books, especially these characters. This is a boy and a girl, and I believe, I could be wrong about that, but typically those stories are romance, so it's kind of really interesting and fun to have a book that is a male and a female character that are just really best friends. So yeah, I will see. I will report back. I hope I love this because I've put too much of my heart and soul into assuming that I'm going to love it. So yeah, I think this is my most highly anticipated read of October. Ooh, had to move because the sun is coming right at my face through those windows. Okay, next book, another super highly anticipated read for me. I've been literally waiting forever to read this book, and that is The Death of Jane Lawrence by Caitlin Starling. Another absolutely gorgeous cover that I'm obsessed with. This is a book that I bought last January, and I was waiting for this October to read it, so it has been on my shelf for a while. This is a gothic horror story about Jane Lawrence, who moves in with her husband to a mansion, and things go deadly wrong, I am assuming. I know that this has had mixed reviews, but I'm going in with an open mind and hoping for the best. And finally, we have the Literally Dead book club pick of the month of October, and that is You're Invited by Amanda Giatiza. This is a thriller about a woman who is invited to her best friend's wedding, only to find out that the groom is her ex. And when she goes to the wedding, a murder occurs, and she has to figure out who is the killer and what is going on and try to stop the killer before he or she strikes again. So like I said, this is the Literally Dead book club pick for the month of October. So I did say at the beginning of this that I had a predicament, and it is just that I've added so many books to my TBR, and I think I promised too much of myself. I have a bunch of the Dark Academia books that I did not end up getting to for this month, but several of them I really hope to get to soon. In My Dreams I Hold a Knife, I think it will be short and fast, and I think I'll fly through it, so I might be able to get to that this month. These Violent Delights I really want to get to, but that thing is thick, so not sure. And then Secret History and Vicious, both of these not too long. We'll just see. I definitely want to get to Secret History this year though, and Vicious has been on my TBR for so long. I feel like I just need to do it at some point, preferably now. I also have Razorblade Tears by S.A. Cosby, which I would really like to get to this month, but the TBR is looking long, and if one has to move, this one is moving down the list to November though. So still going to get to it before the end of the year, and it's going to happen in November. If this doesn't happen in October, it is 1000% on the November list. And then I have a couple books that I probably should not have picked up because I don't have room for them, but I saw them at my library and they've been calling to me. And one of those is Fates and Furies by Lauren Goff. And this is about a husband and wife who are pretty successful and things are going really well. And then, according to the book jacket, it says there is an emotionally complicated twist. The perspective shifts, and what began as a story about one extraordinary union becomes so much more. Look, this book jacket sold me, and I've seen this book a couple times recently, and it's just been calling to me. Again, not sure I'm going to be able to get to it this month with what's currently on my TBR, but it's definitely on my radar for very soon. And the other one is Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine by Gail Honeyman. This book is one that I originally heard of from Kira Foster, and she loves it. It's about a character who is a little bit socially awkward, and it's just a kind of a slice of life story, and it just seems really cute and heartwarming, and I don't have enough books like that on my list. Yeah, so these are the books that I really just don't know what to do with at this point in time. I want to put them on my TBR, but I just don't think I'm going to have time for them. So they are in limbo. They're in a sad limbo place. And hopefully I can rescue them someday, but not sure when it's going to happen. And then the last thing that I wanted to talk about, because I just got it today and it's so gorgeous. This is a book, but I don't know if it really is going to count. But this is Useless Magic by Florence Welch of Florence the Machine. And this is just like a really gorgeous compilation of her lyrics to her albums through High as Hope. So her newest release is not on there, but it's illustrated. It has like all of these beautiful drawings. I think some of them are from her. I don't know if all of them are, but there's like photos and quotes. And I recently went to my first Florence the Machine concert just last week actually, and it was a magical experience, like genuinely magical. So this was just something that I thought was so beautiful, and I love, if there's a band or a singer or a songwriter that I really love, I love to have compilations of their lyrics because they're basically like poetry. And then I can really dive in and study them like I would study poetry. So, and I mean, this book is just like so unbelievably beautiful. So I did find this thrifted copy, and it's just, ooh, it makes my heart so happy. So I'm going to try to read a lot of it in October, but I don't know if I will actually, like, you know, I'm not really in a rush. I want to savor it. It's really beautiful. And yeah, I'm not sure if it exactly counts as a book, but it's has pages and words. Okay, there you have it. That is my entire October TBR, and yeah, it's coming for me. It is going to be a tough time. But the thing is that I have been dying to read every single one of these books. Like, all of these books have been on my TBR for a significant amount of time. So I am, like, really trying to prioritize and make sure that I get through these. Oh yeah, and also I forgot to mention that House of Hunger is also a Literally Dead book club pick. This is the November pick. So just putting that out there. So we have several Literally Dead book club picks in here. Yeah, so please let me know down in the comments below what you are reading this October. What is your most anticipated October read? And let me know if any of the books that I mentioned here are also on your TBR, or if you love them and you think that I should prioritize them. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a lovely day and a lovely month of October.